I can't wait to show you all of my treasures from Barbara Wilson from Florida. Hi everyone, Patty here with my unboxing of snacks and stash. We call ourselves Sister Junk Journalers, and I will explain more of that as I go along, but right now we have to get all of this tape off and get into the yummy stuff inside. The packaging was unbelievable because I will never get all of this back into this box. How she got all of these items into this gorgeous box, I will never know. I will get into this taped up box. I know I can, but all of this tape kept my package safe and nothing was broken or squished. First off, I love bubble wrap to use on my jelly plate and to add dots onto my designer fabric, I like to call it. If you want to see making the fabric I sent to Barbara, go to my video on the journal box I sent her. I will add it into the description. Oh, look at this packaging paper. It's like old punch tape that represents characters and commands for early computers. I have problems with using pieces like this. They are so cool, and if you use it, then you never have any more. Can I use it? You'll have to wait and see once Dephemerember starts and the prompts get going. Right into snacks. I know from our texting back and forth that she looked for snacks that were local, which was a great idea. I sent chocolate, and she said that the bar was melted a bit and she was worried about sending chocolates from Florida. I didn't even think about that, as here in Washington State we're right about freezing temperatures. Something to think about when sending items to another state. Look at this origami box. It's full of hard candies. This will be great to be able to eat while crafting. Looks like strawberry, cherry, orange, and lemon, and pineapple. What a great way to package these pieces to send them. Pieces are wrapped separately, and this one is in some woven packaging with a binder clip wrapped with a woven ribbon. I'll be able to use all of these pieces, and I haven't even opened the package. Look at this woven ribbon. My style is grungy and steampunk with all natural garden pieces, and I think she's getting my style down perfectly. Oh, that's funny. It's gummy snakes and sweet and sour assorted fruit candy. The woven package has some added dyes in rust. Gorgeous. That's going to be perfect texture for my journals. Look at this box. I'll move things over so I have more room under my camera so we can see this better. The box has a metallic color and a reddish brown with metal ribbon and silver down the sides. It has a woven black ribbon with purple edging holding the box with a bow that just pulls open when I pull the ends. Look how that opens. Need to watch that again to see if I can retie a bow like this. Oh, and the ribbon goes through the ring clasp on the front flap. I can just pull the ribbon right through the ring clasp. The box has tabs that go into the base, so I need to pull them out to get it to open. It's tight, and I don't want to rip off the tab, as this box will be used again to hold items. First, the full-size label that Louisa and Barbara at 49 Dragonflies gave us for a freebie. Next is cranberry hibiscus. From texting with Barbara, the leaves can be cooked or eaten raw. I need to see if this will grow around here, as you could drink the tea or use it to dye papers and cloth with. She grew this in her own yard, no chemicals, and ready to make some tea. I'm a tea drinker, and we did not exchange that information before we sent our boxes. A couple little pieces here in the side of the box. Looks like a wooden piece that will work for steampunk, and an old metal button. I'm getting sidetracked because I can see some more items in another bag that are intriguing me, but back to this bag of goodies. Butterfly appliques, old vintage writing paper with a round tag holding the pieces together. What a great way to package and hold items together. I will use a piece of this paper to add to pockets for more journaling space. A napkin from Florida. This napkin is folded and wrapped with a string. It's holding large numbers. Isn't that a prompt for the very first prompt? We exchanged our boxes before the prompts even came out, so that's great. Plus a die cut of some diagonal boxes wrapped around the letters P and S for my initials, and a D for Dephemerember. The napkin is in blue and white with a nautical theme. I need to make a nautical journal, and these pieces will be a great addition. A vintage guest check. Old vintage book pages in a foreign language. Can't read a thing on this, but the font type sure is amazing. A piece of vintage music paper. Cellophane bag can be added to my next journal. So this bag looks very interesting, but how to get into it without tearing the bag? I'm sure there's a flap that's stuck down on one of these sides. Oh, there it is. A frame with a felt bird. The back of it says that it is a sticker. There is a roll of some type of acetate rolled up with the bird attached to the frame. It's really thin. Maybe could use this for a shaker tag, but in a frame. For day 16 or maybe day 23 that is shattered glass. Don't have a clue what 49 Dragonflies and Louisa have in store for us for those prompts, but I can't wait. This is a vellum photo of a picture of a family. Another wrapped up tiny piece with some washi tape. What could be in this little package? The book page that is holding these pieces is old and very brittle. I need to be really careful. Oh, great, a couple keys and a heart and a steampunk motif. There is still more in this bag. Looks like lime green netting, and this material has copper embossed leaves. Oh, it's gorgeous, and we have day 11 with leaves and day 31 with a specimen card and fallen leaves. The shells Barbara picked up at Playa Linda Beach. She said she was standing there finding tiny shells with holes and watching the rockets go off. The rusty safety pins were in her mother's sewing basket, so she thought they were perfect to keep the shells together, and she was correct. Again, the presentation of the way she put her items together makes a tiny shell seem so organic and vintage inspired all at the same time. I just want to flip through these and hold them, but I need to keep going. Here is a tassel with a wooden ring holding the threads, all very vintage inspired. This round tag says Grandma's Vintage Buttons. Again, so nicely put together on a string, showing off these tiny little treasures. And day 8 has Grandma's buttons. How great is that? A bullpen with glass leaves. Again, these can be used when doing day 11 or 31, hanging off the specimen card. Oh, I'm getting excited about using these pieces with the prompts. Another clear bag that can be used in the specimen card, or day 19 pressed flowers gone wild, or maybe day 12 clear packaging. A vintage spool of thread in gold. Day 26 has tangled threads. Perfect. This is a piece of ribbon that is very scruffy looking in a green color. What to do with that? A piece of music notes ribbon in black. Here's a roll of something wrapped up in tissue paper with a piece of masking tape that looks to be quite old. It has a note. Homemade charcoal pencil made by my great-great-grandmother. One of 10 sticks I found in her art supplies. They were found in my mother's attic. Probably made in the early 1900s or late 1800s. Enjoy using it. It works well. From texting, I find out the homemade charcoal was made by her grandmother, who was an artist. She doesn't have much of this left from her late grandmother, and she parted with a piece for me. That's very special. It is so smooth, and I had to try it on a piece of paper as soon as I knew what it was. I have never made any of these pieces, but it is on my list to do, as you can also make a watercolor with charcoal. A Panera bag full of labels, tags, and packaging. We have a Panera here. A new store just opened up not far from where my mother lives. We just went to lunch there for soup and sandwich. Some fold over and will work maybe for the floating pocket. I've looked this up on YouTube trying to figure out what a floating pocket could be and got several versions of ideas. Nothing stood out, so I can't wait to see what 49 Dragonflies and Louisa come up with. This piece right here is something that got us into trouble with Barbara's husband. She texted me and said that she may have stuck the little smokestack that goes to her husband's little metal boat in my box. They kind of looked like a metal H to her, and she didn't think anything about it, and why would her husband put his boat parts on her junk table? She had been going through her great-grandmother's pieces and just added it to my box, thinking it was from her great-grandmother's stash. I pitched in and said, "Oh, that sounds like it's right up my alley." Well, Barbara's husband had been putting together his vintage steamboat at her table, and that smokestack had fallen out of his pieces. He started looking for it, and she then realized it was in my box in Washington State now. She didn't want to ask me to return it, but she couldn't replace the vintage part, and he really needs it to finish his steamboat. I couldn't believe it when she let me know what was going on, and I promptly returned the part. In the meantime, I was thinking maybe I should do a nautical-themed journal, and I love to write stories that go with my journals, so I asked her to send me a picture of this boat. And on the boat it has the Keene National Bank from New Hampshire, which she lived by when she lived in New Hampshire. And I'm like, I lived on Keene Road growing up as a kid. So here we are becoming more and more alike. Her birthday is in August, so is mine. Her aunt, dad, and grandfather, all on her dad's side, were born in August. She and her husband just had their 37th anniversary the day before my husband's birthday and my daughters and granddaughters. It's been so fun getting to know each other and learning. We both love to use plants and plant dyes in our pieces. So that's when we came up with Sister Junk Journalers. Onto the coin envelope full of little punch circles and ovals in a couple colors and sizes. Maybe I can stamp on them. The ring has the word respect stamped on it in 3 different places. A few pieces of index cards that have been altered in size. Hand-dyed paper pieces. This is a piece of gold tape that has a sticky back. 49 Dragonflies always uses gold in her projects, so this will be handy. Loose woven burlap. Oh, the texture you could get out of this piece. And day 25 is texture fragments. Perfect. So I sent her braided paper towels that I had used to mop up color, and she thought that was so funny, as she thought to herself, what would Patty think if I sent her pieces of paper towel? Well, I would love it. Another piece of the woven burlap. I think she used some of this on the cover of my box she made. It adds such interest to pieces. A piece of red paper. Well, this will be challenging. A picture of 2 guys, don't know who, and maybe another piece that will be very challenging. Comes from some sort of calendar that has historical trivia on one side. A vintage picture of a couple old-time cowboys looking at maybe gold. Another piece of fabric that is purple, shiny, and embossed with a scroll pattern. Gorgeous. I love how she wrote on the back of some of these pieces to explain them a bit better. These are old blurry photos that will work for background pieces. What a great idea. This piece has a note. Open carefully. Circus glitter. Don't we have a prompt on day 16, moon dust? I bet this will work for that project. This package has a note. When my mother was alive, she used to use and sell essential oils. She used to give these out. Oops, I just saw I got paint on the bag. It's fine sending it anyway. We are junk journalers, so what's a little grunge? Accent. It's a terracotta pendant necklace that you put essential oil onto, and it retains the scent because it is made of clay. And the oil sinks into it, and the smell will last for a long time. I love essential oils and use them regularly. I think I will put some calming oil on it during Dephemerember to keep calm, as I hope to keep up with every prompt. Here are some leather tags with a travel and vacation theme. Great addition to our journals. I've already used one of these in a planner I'm working on for my Etsy shop. A piece of paper with embossed tiny flowers, nice texture for clusters, maybe dyed with some of the hibiscus tea. A photo of an old Victorian lady, love her hat. This page is colored dots on an embossed paper that has lots of color and texture. A piece of silk evergreen bough with some sparkles. It has a tag that says vintage from my grandmother's decorated blown eggs. A piece of dyed paper in greens. It has a nice texture to it, very thin packaging paper. Old newspaper print, very delicate. The back of this piece is a gorgeous green flower motif, and the other side cactus stickers. Should be able to use both sides of this page. Long rectangular cellophane bag with a piece of tissue paper with colored dots. The bag has dots, not the tissue paper. But what a great way to change the color of a clear bag by adding a piece of colored tissue paper. I need to remember this idea. A very old vintage book page with a child printed with maybe a lithograph style printing. One side has it omitting a couple stages and then the other side shows it finished. I never know how to use pieces that are double-sided and still be able to showcase both sides. What to do? Old book cover jacket from a welding book. A little scrap of dyed paper. This is like the border she used on the outside of the box to add our addresses, maybe from an old card. The very old vintage book page from a thesaurus. Copper-colored pieces of shiny woven material. I love copper-colored pieces. And a piece of green-colored woven material. Both will be so nice to add some texture onto our clusters, tags, and ephemera. The bottom of the box is covered with a cork piece. Wow, look at all this. I can't wait to start Dephemerember. A big thank you to my swap partner and sister junk journaler, Barbara Wilson, and to Louisa Heinzel and Barbara at 49 Dragonflies for another year of Dephemerember. Have a great time this month creating. Bye now.